You're like panicked.
She's
trying to
right.
find it. You don't know where it is. Welcome to the Midday Show, Monday, May 2nd, 2022. My niece's birthday, Cameron. You've never met my nieces, have you?
I've never met your sister.
Yeah. We'll have to make that happen.
I'm beginning to think that you're an only child and she's like Snuffleupagus. Like you can see her and nobody else can. Are you young enough to know who Snuffleupagus is?
Yeah, Winnie the Pooh. Sesame Street.
There you go.
In Winnie the Pooh, they have the elephants too, though. They're called something. If anyone's listening and they watch Winnie the Pooh,
oh, the Huffalumps.
There, that's what it is. So that's where I got my screws tied.
They couldn't see the Huffalumps?
Well, not so much. It's just the idea like it was a big hairy elephant.
Oh yeah.
Isn't Snuffleupagus a big hairy elephant?
Yeah, but at least when I was a kid, I think the world has changed. When I was a kid, Big Bird was the only one that could see him.
Would being an only child answer a lot of questions for you? Like,
you?
Would me being an only child answer questions or no? I don't think I act like an only child.
No, it's just the fact that you keep like you have a sister, you
just
have
never
nieces, you've never seen her. I've never
Little.
seen a picture. She could walk in here
You wouldn't
and
know it was her.
wouldn't know it was her unless she said that's my brother, and that would give it away.
A little like Sixth Senses.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Little bit.
Today, the Midday Show Flamingos, we're going to unveil. We are going to have a wiffle ball team. I've told you about this.
You did tell me this.
Yes.
I was confused.
We have the logo, we have the shirt. I'm going to unveil it to you here in like 5 minutes. We're going to do a big unveiling. So, some people own the Dallas Mavericks, like Mark Cuban has the Dallas Mavericks, Jerry Jones has the Dallas Cowboys. We own an adult wiffle ball team called the Midday Show Flamingos.
There you go.
I hope you like pink.
Well, if it's a flamingo, they kind of have to be pink.
Do you know why they're pink? You'll love this. Do you know
why flamingos are pink?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what color their feathers are?
No, their feathers are actually white. They eat krill and shrimp, and the pigment in the shrimp and krill turns their feathers pink. So, for example, when you see like huge flocks of flamingos, the brightness is basically indicate of their diet and how healthy they are.
I would have never guessed that.
And then there's off seasons and on seasons. So sometimes you'll see a flamingo and it's almost white. And that's why the krill isn't necessarily in season.
That is fascinating.
Yeah,
I will remember that.
Their legs also bend backwards, if you didn't know that as well too. So their knees go the opposite way. Like, you know how we bend our knee, we kick backwards? Don't
lots of birds
go for it? No, I think
like the back legs of four-legged animals go backwards.
No, they don't.
Of course.
Wait, this might be a completely different topic. Wait, are you implying that a horse's back legs
go backwards?
No. A horse's back legs still bend like our knees.
No, they don't.
Get out of here. Are you messing with me? Feels like you're messing with me.
There's only one four-legged animal that has four knees. It's an elephant. An elephant. Go pull up a horse race and watch the horse run and see how the back legs work.
I gotta look this up.
It's like a dog.
Too weird.
Horses and dogs run the same way.
How do horses' back legs bend? A hind leg that mainly pushes backward from the center line pushes a hind leg that mainly steps. Wow. I never
You grew up on a farm.
I
grew up on Spruce Street. How is this happening?
Wow. So is this any four-legged animal?
Except an elephant.
An
elephant is the only
go
one.
The other way. What about my dog?
Your dog does the same thing.
Really?
You are an idiot.
I am an idiot. I never knew this. So I knew what color flamingos were and why, but I had no idea that four-legged animals, their knees go the other way. So flamingos aren't even that cool then.
Well, see, I'm trying to think for birds. Like I'm trying to, as a duck, I think I'm picturing birds that really walk, because most other birds just kind of hop.
Okay.
But I would guess that a duck has a normal knee, kind of. And because they bend that way and paddle. Yeah, because they have to bend that way. So maybe flamingos, yeah, I don't know. Now I don't know.
I got to look into this now. I'm blown away by the mammal part of it. I had no idea that four-legged mammals, their back legs went the other way.
They also, I've heard this about the two things of elephants that I've heard. Other than they have super memories, apparently.
Yes.
Four knees, can't jump. They're like one of the only animals in the wild who cannot jump.
That's weird because they can go up onto their hind legs.
Correct.
Huh. Interesting. What about a bear, though? Because have you ever seen a bear walk? You've seen the bears that go up on two legs and they're like walking, essentially. It doesn't look like their legs go the other way. I'm like blown away right now.
Now I'm wondering, what kind of joint do they have? I mean, I guess it's just not like an official knee. I guess it doesn't have the same, because the other thing too is bears are fast.
Yes, bears are very fast, and they can climb, which some people don't know.
Oh, they climb like crazy.
Yes, they can go up trees. Okay, before we get
to this, all right,
I have to look that up now because I'm blown away. I had no idea.
That's been the most fascinating 6 minutes of Midday Show history.
I literally had no idea horses' back legs were inverted the other way. Had no clue. I still technically don't believe it. Like, I think I still need to like verify this and look it up. Before we get to all that, Midday Show Flamingos, we're going to introduce our wiffle ball team. Should Twitter still be banning people? They still are. Musk is involved. Trump is involved. The My Pillow guy is involved. We're going to talk about that for a little bit. And then the Depp versus Heard debacle. It's kind of getting into like story time of the trial. So there's all these unique stories and aspects about Musk and about dinners and wine bills and just crazy stories coming out of it. So I thought we'd touch on some of that. Maybe talk about divorce.
Because nothing settles a divorce like the wine bill.
The wine bill.
Those are details you need to cover.
Wait until you hear about this wine bill.
You can't get to the bottom of who's right and who's wrong until you've got to the wine bill.
I say this to you all the time, but I sincerely mean it. 30 seconds or less. Mark, how are you feeling today?
My back hurts a little bit, and I don't know. And I think this is a getting old. Like, what are you, 34?
34.
Like, do you ever wake up and hurt, like your neck hurts or your...
So I'm unique because I have Lyme's. So
right.
I do have these weird...
Oh, so you're stiff.
I have these weird spurts of stiffness depending on like the time of the year and just, it's weird. Lyme's is really hard to explain to people. So anyway, like I do have those moments, but I'm a weird person to ask.
I don't think, like, I've never woken up with like my neck. It's been like, oh, I must have slept wrong. But once in a blue moon, my lower back, when I have trouble laying on my stomach now. I don't know when this has happened in life.
Okay.
But when I lay on my stomach, and I must have last night because I'm sore.
But see, you're not a blanket guy or a pillow. Like, see, like this is so corny. I have like the comforter and all this stuff. So like a lot of times, like I'm putting the comforter between my legs because you're supposed to like.
No, I went with that last night.
Okay.
Last night was a tossy-turny night. I don't know why it was.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. But so today I am a little. So now it's one of those things too. Like this happens. I bet this happens to a lot of old people. As the day goes on, I'm getting better. Like this morning, I was like limping around the house going, my God, this sucks.
Right.
But now as I'm going through the day, like I I thought of it this morning. I was like, when Jeff asked me how I'm doing today, I'm going to say my back hurts because it does, but now it doesn't hurt anymore. But
that's good. I'm happy for it.
So
no, I'm going to have some weird things the older I get. I can tell already. Just physiologically.
And playing basketball as much as you did. I mean, first of all, Lyme's. Yeah. Second of all, playing basketball. I mean, that's pounding.
And I wasn't built to play it either. Like I have friends and like former teammates and stuff, and I look at them and I'm just like, when they do it, everything looks so much smoother. Like just
you're not tall and lanky like a basketball player.
I was not built to be like a basketball player. So I've got some weird later years coming probably. Like when you combine everything.
My other question to you is, with all those relationships you've had, how come you haven't had one of these Johnny Depp trials? Somewhere along the line, one of these ex-girlfriends should have sued you for something.
I either just wasn't worth the time or the money. Here's the other thing too. There was nothing to come get. Like, what were they gonna come after?
It's a good strategy.
What were they gonna win other than a loss of time?
You can have everything I got.
That's
and it ain't much.
We are going to have a wiffle ball team. We are sponsoring one, unveiling the Midday Show Flamingos logo and jersey. You have not seen this yet, have you?
I've not seen it. I've not been asked to play.
I'm going to.
I might be the greatest wiffle ball player of all time.
We're in where are we going to put you? Are you on the mound?
I can play anywhere. I can play anywhere. Anywhere. Except my ankle hurts bad. I don't think I can play.
Maybe we can put you behind the plate. Isn't that what they do?
With an old person softball?
Yeah.
They put the guy behind the plate.
Well, the person who can't move, like you just said, like your ankle.
Well, I would tape it and go.
You would just figure it out.
I would go.
Okay. Do you want to give us a drum roll here for the unveiling of our uniforms? Ooh, that was a good one. Do you like it?
I do.
Do you love it?
That is cool.
Is it everything you've ever wanted it to be?
No. Well, I was expecting it to be all pink. I was expecting like the bird to be like that color, and the shirt to be like a lighter pink. But this works better. This is better.
See, I think this is better. It goes with it looks more like a Midday Show shirt.
Agreed.
But you very clearly know where the flamingos. Is that fair?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so the hats are pink.
So here's what I want to do for the hats. I think we're going to go the palm tree flamingo print bucket hats instead of the ball caps. So we're going to have bucket hats on with those. Do you like that idea?
You know, I got to tell you this. You told me this idea last week.
Yes.
And now I'm thinking where I saw this. There is a really good chance either I saw something online or that I had a dream and some team had bucket hats on.
No, you know who it probably was, and I could be completely wrong. The Savannah Bananas. Do you know that minor league team?
Okay.
There's a minor league team called Savannah Bananas. They have a huge social media following, and they do all these corny, gimmicky things to convince people to come to the ballpark. I have no doubt that the Savannah Bananas wore bucket hats.
Well, they might have, but I don't think that was it. I think it was a dream because my first thought was they stole Jeff's idea and he's going to be pissed.
I was mad, wasn't I?
Well, you weren't around. But when I saw it, I was like, he is going to be mad because that was his idea.
I am mad. So the league's going to be at the local Liberty Arena here in Waynesboro, PA. Adult co-ed wiffle ball league. First one really of its, like I'm sure people have had like their backyard leagues like when they were kids or whatever else. But this is the real, you know where it's big is up north, like in Massachusetts and Connecticut, like that whole Northeastern. They have these huge adult wiffle ball leagues. Have you ever seen this at all? We're going to like go down a YouTube rabbit hole at some point, but it is unreal. The pitches and some of the things that these like grown adults do, it's nuts. And they take it seriously.
Well, it's funny because every year as I go through coaching Little League, and now I don't coach anymore because my kid's in high school, but I was just having this conversation at the field today. I have it 10 times a year. Kids are worse defensively now in baseball than they were when we were kids. Okay. And I attribute 100% of it to the fact that they don't play wiffle ball and they can't react to the ball off the bat. There are pop-ups that get dropped, that not even get dropped, but some of them pop-ups get dropped.
Sure.
When you learn to catch a pop-up with your bare hands, catching it with a glove on is pretty freaking easy.
Sure.
But secondly, there are pop-ups that go up that people don't go after. And it'll be like, the catcher kind of goes, the third baseman stays there because he assumes the catcher's going to catch it, and it drops, and then it just ends up being a strike. And I've said, because a lot of times when you're a little kid and you're playing wiffle ball, there's a pitcher and one fielder. Mm-hmm. And every ball that's hit, that guy has to go get it.
Yeah.
And people just don't do it anymore. And they can't run the bases either. Because we spent our whole childhood sprinting from first to third, sprinting around. Like, I'm shocked at how many kids get to like go from first to second and kind of have to do a 3-point turn at second to get angled to third.
Yeah.
And I attribute all of it to the lack of wiffle ball.
Interesting. It's a very I like the point you brought up about like tracking the ball, because even when you're tracking a wiffle ball, it never goes the way you think it's going to go.
No.
I mean, you're tracking it from the moment it comes off the bat until the moment it's in your hand, because it is literally doing whatever it wants to from point A to point B. But I agree with you.
Even if they pull it, if they hit it the other way, like when the ball comes off the bat, even though it's a yellow bat or a big fat red bat and a white ball, you still go that way.
Right.
So when the ball comes off, your ability to react and go left or right, and kids just defense is worse. And it's funny too, because they play so many more games with travel balls and with indoor. They take 1 million more hours of batting practice than when we were kids, but they can't field and they can't run the bases. And I blame it all on the lack of wiffle.
I believe that. You want to see it one more time?
Yes.
Oh, there it is.
It is cool. I will say this. It is cooler than I thought, because I thought it was going to be pink.
No, I wouldn't do that.
And like dark pink on light, blush and bashful. That's what I was thinking it was going to be.
Okay.
Do you know that reference?
This is bold and beautiful.
Do you know the reference? Blush,
No,
bluff, bleh. Blush and bashful.
No.
It was from Steel Magnolias. Those were the two colors of her wedding.
Okay.
Blush and bashful.
It's weird.
Sad movie.
Blush and bashful, like a pink.
It's
and
pink
a
and pink.
Blue.
It's a different color of pink.
Okay.
Steel Magnolias. Sad movie. Don't watch it.
I don't plan on it. Let's talk about something. I mean, this is kind of a fun topic. Twitter bans. So Twitter is still banning accounts, even though Musk has bought it. And
not ours.
He's talked about we're not banned yet. What was Facebook? Remember, what did we get? We got a notice, or I can't remember what it was. Facebook was not happy with us one day. Twitter is still banning some accounts. The MyPillow, there's a good story.
We should clarify that for people that weren't watching. In the background, you used to run stuff, like when we were discussing things.
Yeah.
And you ran a Aerosmith Run DMC video.
Yes.
And I don't even think there was volume on.
The volume was down, but I didn't mute it. So whatever the system is that they use, it was still picking up the audio track.
So we played in the background copywritten.
Yes.
Music. And we weren't allowed to do it.
And we got slapped on the wrist for it by Facebook.
They're like,
but we like to say we were just little Howard Sternish, and we were just so on the edge of what's acceptable.
Is that what it was?
That's what
so yeah, we didn't do anything like really malicious. We were just, and we think if we would have hit the mute button, and I say we, I mean you, because you do all the technical stuff.
Yes.
That we would have been fine.
Yes, I agree with that as well.
So anyway,
this is my own fault.
So yes, so we did get yelled at though.
So an interesting story. We'll talk about Mike Lindell. He's the MyPillow guy, and we'll talk about him getting banned on Twitter again because that one's comical in a different way. But this is interesting. Trump has said he doesn't want back on if he could. I saw an estimate right now. They believe that there's somewhere between 75 and 100,000 Twitter accounts that are banned. Now, how many of them are? Some of them might have been bots. Some of them probably weren't like blue check mark accounts.
They weren't real people. Yeah.
Yes. So there is an interesting part of like being banned from Twitter. I don't know if we talked a lot about Trump. We talked a lot about the value of social media, all those things. I don't know if you and I have ever actually talked about being banned on social media. And
well, before we go further, didn't he just tweet his first one on his own platform? What was that one called?
It wasn't his first one. Truth Social.
Yeah.
So Trump just finally posted again on Truth Social because he had posted when they first started it.
Okay.
But it was his first time since I forget what it was. It had been a while since he had posted.
Okay. I assume that one's not going well.
The Truth Social, I don't think it's going well from like a larger platform, but I think like do I think his followers and his constituents are on there, and like do I think there's a lot of media people on there too, because like you have to know what's happening? Like I do.
Okay.
I think like in the grand scope of things, like do I think they're competing with a Twitter? No. Do I think they're ahead of like other people that have tried to start something similar? I do.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I've never been banned from social media, but I don't.
You shouldn't be banned from social
media. I don't look to fight.
Do you? So here, I'll just ask you a loaded question then, and we can go from here. Do you think Donald Trump or anybody else should be banned from a social media account? It's a hard question.
Yeah, I do. I think there's a responsibility because so many people, and again, I blame this on my generation, not your generation. My generation grew up in a world where if you saw it on TV or, if you read it in the newspaper, that you believed it was vetted.
Yes.
Even though we didn't know what vetted meant.
Sure.
But we believed it to be truthful and not necessarily just an opinion, somebody that's trying, the fake news sites didn't exist. And now, when you dress something up and you put it on Facebook or you put it through and if it looks real, my generation buys into it.
Okay.
And one of the problems with social media, what makes social media great and awful at the same time, is everybody has a voice. And there are lots of idiots out there that espouse their voice that don't know that they don't back it up with anything. Mm-hmm. It's just they heard something, so they post it. They see something, so they share it.
Right.
And it is factually false.
Okay.
But they've shared it, and now they've spread it. So,
so here's my two things, and you'll be the perfect person to bounce this off of, because you're going to tell me things that I didn't think of. My first thought is, I never thought that Trump tweeting was a Twitter problem. I always thought it was a presidential job status problem. And so what I mean by that is, I don't think it's Twitter's fault that the United States president is allowed to tweet whatever he wants to tweet. The job title, the job expectation, the what do I want to say? The rules or the guidelines around the job of president should have upheld him from being allowed to just go and tweet whatever he wants to tweet. Like if somebody, like if the CEO or the president of a company or an organization goes on Twitter and is an idiot, the board gets them out of there. Like they're done. Like they can't disgrace the title of being president of whatever, right? And so people are like, well, I can't believe Twitter lets him do this. Twitter lets him do this. And in my head, I'm thinking like, I don't think this is a Twitter problem. Like I think this is like a United States governmental post
you're right.
problem.
You're
Am
right.
I crazy for thinking that?
No. No, but I think that there's an aspect to that. Okay, what was your other point? But no, I agree with you.
So the other one was there were a lot of people who were upset about Trump tweeting this and that. And like there were a lot of times where Trump would tweet something and I would be like, that's really dumb. There were times where Trump would tweet something and I would be like, oh, that's actually kind of funny. There were times where Trump would tweet something and I would just completely ignore it because I knew it was Trump just tweeting something. Okay. But there were people who really viewed that as like the bloodline, like the informational hotline for the United States of America was Donald Trump's Twitter. And so they saw it as everybody who's seeing this must just believe that this is like what the United States believes or what's going on or what's happening. And my whole thing has been, there's a lot of people the next election who didn't vote for Trump because of that Twitter feed. And so the irony to me is you had a lot of people on the left, like block him off of Twitter, get him off of Twitter. But for a lot of people, like for anybody on the right who jumped over and voted for Biden or voted for any Democratic candidate, like a lot of the reason was because of that public awareness of what Trump was willing to say on Twitter. And so there is this juxtaposition of like block him, ban him, we don't agree with what he's saying or what he's saying is incorrect or da-da. But also there's a freedom of information that I think there are voters appreciated because it's not about believing what he says. It's knowing what he thinks.
That is a very fascinating point.
Yes. So there is a part of this Twitter thing where they're like, ban this person, block that person. Don't let them say this. Don't let them say that. And in my head, I'm thinking like, well, no. Like, I kind of like knowing what these people think. It doesn't mean I agree. It doesn't mean that I always think it's factually correct. I just know where they might be standing. And that helps me make smarter decisions.
No, and that's very well said. I mean, there's so many angles which to come back to, but you're right. There are people who went from the right to the left because of Twitter, because of Trump and on Twitter. And so yes, how much did it help? How much did it hurt? But I think whether it's Trump or whomever, I saw an interview once where they talked about the people, and it would be interesting to ask Trump, like the diehard Trump supporters, what do you think of all these accusations of dishonesty? Because when they go through with these fact checkers, and there are tens and tens of thousands of things that he said that just proved out to be not true. Right. Do they think it's all a lie? Because I saw an interview with one about like during the debates and the presidential debates, and Trump had said something that wasn't true. And this isn't about that he lost the election. This is before the election even came out. And they asked someone about this, like, has this ever happened? They're like, oh my gosh, it happens all the time. But once, whether it's Obama, whether it was George W., whether it was ever, someone would say something that was factually untrue, then everyone would call him out on it. Then they wouldn't say it anymore. Right. They're like, Trump just says it again. And Trump just keeps saying it even after it was proven to be untrue. So I wonder if I wonder if Trump people actually believe that. The second thing is, I wonder if this aspect of that they're making that Twitter or Facebook or whoever is making the world a better place by allowing people to say false information over and over and over and over, because we have so much of our society that when we hear it, we believe it, and we run with it.
So here, it's so funny because you were talking about like diehard Trump supporters or diehard leftists or whatever the diehards are. This is the part that I wish more people would talk about. Like I wish like a Mar or like I'm trying to think somebody on the right side, but I wish like a TV person that's smarter than me would talk about this. I don't understand why we have to cater to the bottom or the top 20% for these social media platforms. And what I mean by that is I have no doubt that if you and I just made a meme up and we posted a fake fact, right? Like just something absurd, and we ran it, I have no doubt that like 10% of Twitter or Facebook would run it if it followed their agenda.
If it fell into what they wanted to do.
But this is the part that they never talk about. 90%, 85%, 80% of us just go on with our day and just go, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Or that's probably not true. And so like
that would be a fact. How many people read it? Because I have a friend who shared one, and this person is extreme, and shared one. And right when I read it, I was like, well, that can't be true.
Correct.
I did 15 seconds of research, found out that it was not true.
Yes.
I sent this person a private message and said, do you realize what you just shared is totally false? And this person said, I wondered that, but what if it was true?
I remember you telling me this.
And now you're like,
but this is the point I'm making.
Oh my God.
Like, is that who you want to cater to? Like, or like this is what I'm
But
saying.
How many people are influenced by that? Like there's all levels of naivety or naivety, however you say that word.
Sure.
And I mean, that stuff, when you hear it over, wasn't it? Somebody said if you lie was it Trump in one of his books that said if you tell the same lie 3 times, people believe it?
Yeah, but okay. But going back to like, this is the part of it though. And maybe this is selfish of me. I don't think my social media apps should have to be dictated by the bottom 10, 15, 20%. Like, I think it's insane that what I get from my social media platform and who's allowed on it and who's banned and who can say what and who can't is because of the dumbest 10 or 15 or 20% of the people using the app.
And I do get what you're saying.
To me, that's an absurd way to design or regulate anything.
And I get that. But the question becomes, all right, what's a good analogy? Like, have you ever walked into a bar or a nightclub and they won't allow you in because you have sweatpants on?
Sure.
Or because you have a football jersey on? Like, isn't that 10% of the crowd that's going to show up in a football jersey? So they're keeping those people out to try to make it better for everyone else. I mean, I can see why it's easy why a business would say, if we trim the most annoying 10% of the people away, the 90% of the other people are going to be way happier.
I see what you're saying. I've always said this about like seatbelts. Like, I understand why cars have seatbelts. There are still going to be people that don't wear seatbelts.
Correct.
Okay. So what I'm saying is like, we shouldn't cater the design of a car to the other people that just are still not going to wear their seatbelt. Like, every car isn't made where like it won't turn on until you have the seatbelt on. Because we understand like some people just aren't going to do it no matter what you do for them. And what I'm saying is I view social media very much the same way. If you want to put seatbelts in for everybody, like if you want to put the block button in so people don't have to see this stuff, I get it. Like, if you don't want to see Donald Trump, put the block button in. But what I'm saying is don't just put the block button in for everybody because those people over there refuse to hit the block button. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
No, it's a valid point. It is a valid point.
That part, like, I do not understand that aspect to it at all. And like I said, I will still argue, I would love to see some sort of statistic on Trump, anybody who was red or a Trump voter that went over and voted for Biden or the left, and how many of them would say, like, I disagreed with what Trump said on Twitter, or I thought the way he was handling his social media wasn't good for the president of the United States. Like, I bet you people really cared about that. Like, for some people, that was a very big factor coming over. And yet people on the left were like, block them, block them, block them. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, you don't understand, because the voters that you want to come over, like, we're deciphering some of this stuff for ourselves anyway. Like, you want us to be seen.
Well, that is a fascinating, because if you're a person who said, I like the fact that I can hear 5 times a day what the president is thinking,
right?
I can get behind that
for myself.
I can get behind that, and I can also get behind the people that say, the president needing, like, almost like he needed attention like a teenage girl, and that they could say that that's not the way the president should handle. The president should be more diplomatic. The president should be more mature. So I can get behind both of those. So whichever side of the fence you're on there, that A, Trump mishandled Twitter, or B, I'm happy that Trump used Twitter, and I could, whichever argument you're on, I could back both of them.
Both of them up. Mike Lindell, the My Pillow CEO.
Isn't it funny that he is just known as the My Pillow guy? He could legally change his name to the My Pillow guy.
Honestly, I always forget his last name. I know it's Mike, but I never remember Lindell until I actually see it in front of me. So he was banned from Twitter for a second time, which still cracks me up. He's tried to set up a new account on Sunday on Twitter under @MikeJLindell. The account was quickly suspended. Twitter said Monday morning that Lindell's new account was permanently suspended for violating its rules on ban evasion. I'm a registered Republican. I typically vote red, depending on the issues and who it is. I'm not a big Mike Lindell fan. However, this idea of, like, you're not allowed here, like, it seems funky to me.
Why? So why is he banned now? I thought Musk, part of the reason he bought it was to free all the banned.
No, yes. So I'm sure there will be people that are banned that are let back on over time, because I'm sure it's not like Musk went in there and just had the rules written and changed the code and like, I'm sure they're still ironing this stuff out, and it will be a while until that's taken care of. He is permanently banned, just like Trump. Like, Trump technically is permanently banned. Like, there is no timeline, which that too is weird as well.
Can't Elon change that?
He can, but it's not like, I'm sure it's not his first day on the job. Like, I'm sure Musk is not worried about if Mike Lindell was allowed to create a second account.
That's a valid point.
But this, even just the the cafeteria table aspect to this, of he's creating a new account. First of all, how do you know someone's creating the account? Like, what if I have a different email? What if I use the same email? Like, what if, they're basically verifying this I'm assuming just off of an email. Because when you go to log in,
I'm guessing they can figure it out.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think so? For example, if you,
I don't know how, but
that's what I'm saying. Like,
for $44 billion, I'm betting he can figure a lot of stuff out.
If you and I made an account right now today that was CEO My Pillow, @CEO My Pillow, right? The only thing that's differentiating us between Lindell is the email address.
Whatever we hooked it to.
Right.
No, I'm with
so
you.
if you're Mike Lindell, so there's two ways to look at this. If you're Mike Lindell, just use a different email address. Just go make hotpotato@gmail.com and make your Twitter.
Oh, like hot potatoes, not been taken.
It definitely has.
No, I do get your point.
You know what I'm saying? So there's just a very cafeteria table aspect to this as well that I don't really understand. I don't know if anybody, unless it is a defamation, unless you are essentially stalking, if there's certain things that I get
that does damage or danger, yes.
Correct. But I don't know about some of this stuff. I don't know.
Well, and I've said this multiple times, and I mean it wholeheartedly. I don't say any of it tongue in cheek. Your generation is going to be better at calling BS on social media than my generation, because we were raised in a world where it didn't exist. And if it was on the nightly news, you didn't have to look at, well, what channel is saying it? Where's their bent? What is their, political motivation? If it was on, if it came, the only thing we read stuff out of was newspapers or magazines.
Sure.
And when we were kids, we didn't even realize that, magazines leaned one way or the other. I'm not even sure they did.
Right.
Maybe they must have naturally, but it wasn't intentional. So we just believe this stuff to be true.
Right.
And that's why my generation is so gullible as to, I read it online, it must be true. Where your generation is like, you're idiots. Someone just posted that. I mean, I think I told you, I had a friend that was like, we should start a fake news site. Yeah. We'd make so much money.
Like The Onion.
As long as it's just interesting. The Onion's just like funny and satirical.
Yeah.
But just print up fake stuff. Like Joe Biden did this and send it and watch how many times it gets shared.
Yeah.
And brings people to the site. And there's truth to it. And they're out 100%. There. And that's, what you told me the one day about friend requests and stuff like that, and how many of them are fake.
Yeah, so there's a lot of, especially on Twitter, but even Facebook and stuff, there's so many fake accounts now, and it's just getting harder and harder. But I think that's part of what Musk wants to do. Musk wants to try to verify, each person's account and basically make it their personal identification on whatever chain it ends up on.
Yeah. Your generation is just so much better at this than ours. This is a great line for you. We were watching, I watched Summer of Soul last night, which is the famous, it's somewhat famous for winning Academy Award. It's more famous for being the one that Chris Rock was presenting when he got slapped.
Yeah.
But it's on Disney Plus.
Okay.
And I thought we had Disney Plus but I had asked my daughter, do we have it? And then she said yes. And then I was like, can you show me how to get on Disney Plus and what's the password? And then they were making my own profile. Okay. And they were talking about something. And my oldest daughter, who's home from college now for the summer, said, it's funny. When I was in a class at school and they were talking about this stuff, she said that all these things have parental controls.
Yeah.
But at our house, the only one who would have been able to set the parental controls was me.
Right.
So I would have had to set my own parental controls to keep me out of something that you didn't know how to keep me out because you didn't know how to work the parental controls. Yeah. And it is totally true.
Oh, yeah.
And we laughed and like, that's why there were none.
It's so much truth to it. My only fear with a lot of this stuff, because you keep saying like, we're going to be better at finding it. We're going to be better at finding it. And I do think we are, like, because I'm, being like 15 years younger, I do think we're better at it. My fear though, is we're also better at making it. And that is, I've seen some people that have, I've seen people make a professional website in 5 minutes. And you would swear that the company was real and like, this is where you pay and this is what and so it's a two-edged sword.
That's true.
I think we're better at spotting it. I think you're
better at counterfeiting too.
We are really, really good at it. Really good at it.
That's I'd never thought of that, but that is true. That's interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. The Johnny Depp Amber Heard. Before I dive into this, what do you know about this?
I know it's absurd.
Okay.
I've seen clips. I know Johnny Depp talks very slowly in this, and I did not know. I thought it was over. I can't believe it's still going.
Still going. Week 3. There's some different. I don't even have necessarily like a take on this. I really just wanted to kind of throw some facts at you that came up during the trial and just kind of.
I'm ready for
maybe
facts.
Have a take or not.
Give me wine bill facts.
Wine bill facts. So they had racked up a $160,000 wine bill that the two are disputing over. Apparently, Amber Heard had developed a taste for a $500 bottle of wine that they continued to order. $5,000 bottle of wine.
$5,000.
Yes. What did I say?
You said 500.
I apologize. Or no, it's a 5. Let me look it up real quick. I thought it was 500. Let me look it up.
You know how many? That's a lot of bottles of wine to get to 160,000.
So here it is. So White also testified, ran up a $160,000 wine bill at a Los Angeles wine company. Heard loved a particular Spanish wine that cost $500 a bottle. So they are in dispute for that right now.
So that is 160. It's 320 bottles of wine.
$500 a pop. Is some of this also too, like, do they just live in such a, like, is their world just so far removed from everybody else's world?
In a moment, in like 5 seconds, my brain spun from this is the most absurd thing ever to there are a lot of divorces that are like this. They
Okay.
just don't have the money and the resources and the things to fight over to drag it out for 3 weeks.
Okay.
I mean, not in an actual like trial. Like what is the trial all about? Somebody must be charged with something.
Johnny Depp is trying to get Amber Heard for defamation, is my understanding.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Which I think right now
he's going to win, isn't he?
From the looks of it right now, he should win it.
I mean, everybody has said that, like,
you never know how any of this stuff's going to end up playing out, but yes, he should win.
I mean, I've seen people who've said, like, I was never a big Johnny Depp fan until now, and now I love him.
Okay.
So he is winning the court of public opinion from everything I've seen.
I would agree with that. So this also, it was brought up, Amber Heard dated Elon Musk, which I did not know this before the trial. Yes. Dated Elon Musk this was right after that the marriage fell apart.
Okay.
She admitted in a text message that was used as evidence that Musk was, quote, filling space in her heart.
Okay.
So many things. First of all, how does Amber Heard even get involved with Elon Musk? Elon Musk is like the busiest person on the planet. How does that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, that's bizarre in itself. 2, the filling space in her heart. I don't know if there's I'm trying to think. Elon Musk is very smart. Elon Musk, I would even say, is clever. I'd even go as far as saying Musk can be witty. He can be quick on his feet. Elon Musk is super awkward. This is not I would not call Elon Musk smooth. I would not call Elon Musk like a smooth operator.
No, I'm with you.
Okay. So the disconnect for me is first, how do you even get involved with Elon Musk?
He's rich.
But how do you get involved with Elon? If you're Amber Heard, you're just picking up the phone and hitting up Elon Musk, where does that start? Where does that come from?
There's only so many of them that run in these circles, and you get invited to these parties, and there's
filling space in her heart as well. Do you think Elon Musk has pillow talk? Do you think he I just don't I see Elon Musk just get to it, get done, and I'm thinking about electric cars.
Oh no, I think that she's saying he's just kind of passing the time.
Okay, so that there was
he's not
emotional validation that she was seeking.
Yes, he's not. Yeah, I felt it he's a way for me to pass the time.
Okay.
To get over the love of her life, who was apparently John.
Okay, interesting. Also, too, his finger was severed, which I knew when this had happened, I knew about it.
I remember hearing something.
Okay, because I'm beginning to realize more and more people didn't know that this took place, that his finger was actually severed. Interesting.
I mean, from all I've heard, that she's nuts, and what do you want to say? That aspect, the different levels of intelligence, and her emotional intelligence does not seem to be very high. She may be very bright, but her ability to intelligently handle emotion. And I think that's one of the things I read this somewhere, wherever I clickbaited into this, of all the levels of intelligence. And one of the things that I was reading, I think it was about leadership. But it's about schools focus on academic intelligence.
Okay.
And your ability to memorize, your ability to,
sure.
It doesn't, your intelligence in crisis, your intelligence in your emotional intelligence. How do you handle good? How do you handle bad? Are you smart enough to realize this isn't the right time for me to make a decision?
Right.
Those people that I realize I'm really angry right now and we're still going to fight right now. And there are those people who you're just listen, nothing good is going to come out of this at this point. We might as well stop talking, go cool down. We'll talk tomorrow when we can talk. But there's nothing better beyond this point. And there are some people that just can't grasp that.
Sure.
And so it just seems in that aspect that she just doesn't have it.
It's possible. I will tell you this. I never thought of Amber Heard being A-list, B-list celebrity.
What is her biggest?
She was in Aquaman.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. She was in a couple of other things. The last part of this, since we're on movies, because before it disappears on me, Depp testified because, again, like the questions that some of these layers are asking, I know they're trying to get somewhere, but like they end up being more interesting as just like tidbits looking into like their lives than the divorce settlement. Depp testified that he had plans to formally conclude the Pirates of the Caribbean film series with a proper goodbye before Disney dropped him from the franchise in 2018, hinting at a final movie. Quote, I planned on continuing until it was time to stop, he said. So it sounds like we were going to get one more Pirates of the Caribbean where Captain Jack Sparrow said goodbye, and we did not get it because of Heard and Depp's relationship.
Which I guess is unfortunate. I would still say that after the first one, the other ones were very forgettable.
Yeah, I remember you saying you didn't love any of them after the first. The first one's incredible, but I agree with you. But still, it's that idea of...
I mean, the one with his dad with Bootstrap, where you met Bootstrap, was that 2?
I don't know, 2 or 3.
Wasn't awful. Like, I guess it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
But it wasn't... If they would have just made one and quit, it would have been just like Jurassic Park.
I think that with this, the sadness isn't in not getting the other movie. It's about iconic characters. And it's like, even if the movie would have been bad, to just see Jack Sparrow one last time, I think is what people are missing out on. Like, just to get
I'm with you.
I'm
with you.
So I think that's what makes it unique. Because I don't think anybody's asking for one more Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, and he was iconic.
He was fantastic in it. Afterthoughts, anything off the top of your head?
Hockey playoffs tonight. Hockey playoffs, here we go.
I can't believe that's what you're going with.
Why? It starts tonight. This is the one time that I think as America,
yes,
we should root against America.
Yeah.
Just to show that we have a heart.
Yes.
Because a Canadian team has not won the cup, I want to say 93, the Montreal Canadiens. It's been like 30 years.
Okay.
And it's their game. Like we just...
Well, Florida has like the 2 best teams right now, don't they?
Tampa has won. This is how absurd it is. This is why you can tell God is just tormenting our northern neighbor. That Tampa Bay has won the last 2 cups. Tampa, Florida has won the last 2 Stanley Cups. Toronto has not won a Stanley Cup since 1967.
Okay.
Like, it's been 50-some years in Toronto. Like, that's where the Hockey Hall of Fame is. Toronto can't win the Stanley Cup, but Tampa wins it every year? Like, this is absurd. So, and that I think they're the first-round matchup. I think it's Toronto-Tampa. Okay. So, like, just can't we give them something? Like, they're Canada. Like, let them win the Stanley Cup. And they have Edmonton, Toronto, and Calgary, I think.
I mean, we gave them the NBA championship.
That's it. They've won an NBA title.
Okay.
They have one team. They can't win the NHL title. Like, it's incredible. Vancouver was close. I think Vancouver went Game 7 twice. Oh, but one of them was right after in 94. And then was Montreal back? I think Montreal was back. They've been in the finals, and they've only been in the finals a handful of times. Yeah. It is like, so I root for the Canadian teams every year just because I feel bad for these people.
You're all right.
I try.
You ever heard my Canada joke?
And then you know what ruins it?
What?
Tampa.
Yeah. You ever hear my Canada joke?
Go ahead.
No, we won't do it on the air.
You can't say it?
NFL draft, any thoughts? Kenny Pickett staying in Pittsburgh.
It's the most overrated thing in... Did we talk about this last Thursday? The fact that they grade it the next day, winners and losers, is laughable. Nah, I don't know. I know Jets fans are excited, Giants fans are excited, and wait till,
It was a lackluster draft. NBA playoffs. Draymond Green got booted last night. Did you see that?
And they won anyway.
They did win anyway. So
yes. Here's my thought on the NBA playoffs.
Yes.
There's no playoff system in the world where the first round is more worthless than the NBA playoffs. The amount of upsets is almost zero. This year it was 0. Yeah. None of them even went to Game 7. Yes. It used to be a 5-game series, which made it slightly interesting. Now it's 7-game series, which it shouldn't be because none of them go to Game 7.
Yeah.
So it is a pure moneymaker. I mean, it's kind of fun to watch, and I watched a lot of it, so don't get me wrong. But now we get into the second round, and with the here, I'll give you this. I'll throw this right back at you. Embiid is out for games 1 and 2 because he has a broken orbital, and concussion. He's out because of the concussion. The orbital, he could put a mask on and probably play.
Sure.
But the concussion, he's out for 5 days or 7 days, whatever the protocol is. He got hurt with 4 minutes to go and a 30-point win. And Doc Rivers is taking heat that why is your MVP in the game with the opportunity to get hurt? Of course, Doc Rivers comes out and says, everybody does it. I would do it again, blah, blah, blah. Did he screw up?
Did Doc Rivers screw up? No, because you can't dictate. If he doesn't get hit, no one says anything. It's a Monday morning quarterback thing.
Correct.
So I don't think he screwed up. No, not in general. Like, you wouldn't say he screwed up if nothing happened. So what's the difference?
Wouldn't you?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I mean, Joel, he could have walked out of the arena and got hit by a car.
And I do get people. I've heard people say, well, okay, so you take him out in 5 minutes.
Sure.
Or what it is, pick a time. You take him out at 5 minutes. He gets an accidental elbow. It wasn't a cheap shot. It wasn't somebody trying to maim him. He gets an accidental elbow a minute later. Well, does it really matter if he gets an accidental elbow a minute into the next series and he's out with a concussion? Like, what's the difference? Right. If it's coming in a minute, you don't know when it's coming. So I do get that. But I bet you see a lot of people, I bet more people get pulled quicker with big leads because of this. At least for this playoff series.
I mean, maybe going forward, I still go back to it's typically the same. What's up?
We're still.
Yeah. We're almost done. There is an aspect to it that is people think you just take them off the floor. And you know this from coaching, like, who are you putting in? Are they ready? Are they expecting to play? Are they not expecting to play? Is it a slap in the face to just throw somebody in for the final 4 minutes of the game that doesn't matter, or that's in hand? Like, there's
when you're getting paid like that,
I'm just telling you,
you're like that aspect, you're like you're getting a paycheck to make sure he doesn't get hurt.
I'm telling you that when you are Doc Rivers there, and listen, I think Doc Rivers is that's a whole other conversation.
You love him.
Doc Rivers is right now. He's in the top 10 for most wins ever in NBA history.
And you think he's the best coach
I
ever.
don't know if he's one of the best 50 coaches ever. And he's the top 10 and win. He got to coach some really good teams, and he's a player's coach. Players typically like him. So, kudos to Doc Rivers for that. But like, I dislike Doc Rivers as a basketball coach. And even I'm sitting here saying, like, no, like, this could happen to anybody. You can't, to blame him for that is insane. There's a lot of things I would blame Doc Rivers for. This is not one of them.
So are they done now because Embiid's at game 1 and 2?
I think it's going to be really tough for them. And also too, like, I just don't think they're a very balanced team. Like, I don't. I also think that the first round matchup against Toronto, like, Toronto's best player got hurt in the second game. Like, it just wasn't a great.
So you like the Heat to roll on?
I like Miami. I still like Boston to win the Boston-Milwaukee series, even though they just got rolled yesterday. I'm really excited for Phoenix Golden State. If we get a Phoenix Golden State's going to be essentially the NBA Finals. Both of those teams are so fun to watch. Really, really good. This is the best time of the year. This is a sneaky one. Have you watched Luka Doncic play?
Yeah.
Okay, you've seen him play.
Well, I saw the last game.
Okay, so
because he was hurt for a while.
So no one's talking about this because they're playing Phoenix they're playing Phoenix, and it's just kind of.
I saw him play Utah in game whatever. He played 1 game, 2 games.
Dude, he could people are going to get, because this is their first time ever getting out of the first round
in a long time. Yes, his first time, and so this is people are going to get to see why Luka Doncic is so special. Where's he from?
Slovenia.
Okay, Pennsylvania.
No.
Oh,
Slovenia.
Okay.
But there's this aspect everyone knows he's great. But until his playoff averages right now, he's in the top 3 all time in playoff averages, and he's 23 years old. It's most people you kind of climb up the average ranks, and he is literally one of the greatest 3 playoff performances ever by averages, and he's 23.
And when they open tonight.
They open tonight, and now people are going to get to actually see why he's so special.
But they can't win.
What's that?
But they can't win.
This is the crazy part. He's so good that they have a chance.
He can't be that good 4 games.
He's that good.
He can be that good twice. He's not winning the series.
He needs other guys to make shots. But he's one of those guys that Are guys going to get open shots because Luka? Like yes, like Luka Doncic is a guy that made me look good. Like he makes everybody else a little better than what they actually are. He's special.
If you have a son, are you name him Luka?
I like the name. Maybe not because of the Disney movie that just came out.
That's true. That's true. I hadn't thought about that.
But he's special. Anybody who's never seen him play, watch him play.
There you go. Tonight, there'll be the late game. Sixers early, Luka late.
Here we go.
But
let's go Flamingos.
But you can't, like, I don't know how many people you watching basketball tonight because hockey playoffs start.
Who's watching that?
Hockey playoffs are a blast. NBA playoffs are a blast. It's a fun time of year.
I like hockey playoffs.
They're fun.
How did she get into Aquaman? She should say thank you to Johnny and pay the wine tab. It's a good point. She may or may not have gotten Aquaman because she was married to Johnny Depp.
I don't think it works that way.
You don't think
they put a lot of money into Aquaman?
Mm-hmm.
They're not dropping $100 million on this budget and say, oh, John, we're afraid Johnny Depp's going to be mad at us. I mean, all these famous people have wives.
I know. I wanted to see if there's anything. I wanted to see if anything else.
Maybe they put her in because they were afraid if they didn't, she'd cut their finger off.
You know
Maybe
what
that
she was in?
Huh?
Zombieland.
Which one?
It looks like the first one.
Was she the dumb girlfriend?
Yes, I think so. I don't know that for sure. Don't quote me on.
That was 20 years ago.
She was in Never Back Down. Do you remember that one? That's like an early MMA fighting one. She was in Justice League. She was in Pineapple Express.
I don't remember. I saw it, but I don't remember it.
The comedy with
Seth
James Franco.
Or
James Rogen, Seth Rogen. James
Seth
Franco.
Rogen. I said Joe Rogan. Oh, it is Seth Rogen. That's what I had.
She was in Magic Mike.
Surprisingly, I never saw that. You probably saw it.
You never saw Magic Mike.
You watched Magic Mike?
She was in. Yes, I saw Brokeback Mountain. Like
why? Brokeback Mountain won like Best Picture. I watched Brokeback Mountain.
People loved Magic Mike.
Did dudes love Magic Mike?
I think people.
Hold on. Let me rephrase that. Did straight dudes love Magic Mike?
You're showing your age. The Danish girl. The Danish girl. Do you remember the Danish girl?
Do you really? So like all the guys of your generation watched Magic Mike.
She was in Friday Night Lights, it says. She had to be like one of the students or something, right?
Yeah, because that was old.
2004. So yeah, there you go. Alpha Dog. Do you remember the movie Alpha Dog?
I never saw it.
With I think Justin Timberlake and Amanda Seyfried was in that too.
You was Timberlake? I was thinking it was Leo. Was it Justin Timberlake?
It was early Timberlake, like when he first got into acting.
Okay.
Yeah. So there. Listen, this. I'll give her this. Her IMDb is way more impressive than what I thought it was going to be when I clicked on it.
Would you, when you say impressive, you're thinking Magic Mike?
Yeah, she was in The Rum Diary with Johnny Depp.
I wonder how they met.
This is such a difference in generations though, because to you, like that's a hilarious joke that like a straight male watched and enjoyed Magic Mike. And like for me, like for my generation, it's not even like a joke. Like it's not like did you see Magic? Yeah, I saw Magic Mike. Like yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just a complete gap in generations.
This is my thinking of it.
Go ahead.
Please tell me you watched it with your girlfriend.
I don't remember.
Because if you watched it by yourself.
I don't remember who I watched it with.
Okay. But then I can understand why your girlfriend would want to watch it. Therefore, you would watch it with your girlfriend. But then after she gets to look at Channing Tatum for the whole movie, then she looks at you and it just kind of has to ruin the evening.
I don't know. I just never thought of it that way. I never worried about it. I think
shouldn't you have thought of it that way?
I think we had very different fears. Like that was never a fear of mine.
Okay, that's fair enough. Maybe not only is my generation more gullible, we're just more afraid.
Of Magic Mike, yes, for sure.
I can promise you that if I'm getting together with my college buddies in about 2 weeks, and there I think are going to be 8 of us. And when I watch how many of them watched Magic Mike, it will be 0 for 8.
Yeah, that's believable. But that's because they couldn't get it at Redbox or they couldn't find the VHS. So Ryan says Mark is going to get canceled. Vicky says that Snuffleupagus was a mammoth. There you go. So I was wrong. He's not.
Yeah, he was woolly mammoth.
Okay. I just thought he was a hairy elephant, which I know is a mammoth, but I never heard him referred to as a mammoth. We got some hepatitis B advertisements in the comments. We won't share those though.
Okay, good.
We'll stay away from that.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else people should know before we head out?
That's good.
All right. Thank you guys for watching the Midday Show. Be sure
go Leafs.
Yes. Go. I thought you were gonna. I'm so mad at you. I thought you were gonna say go Flamingos. And
I didn't. Well, you don't start yet, right? You don't play tonight.
No, we don't start yet. But it's just I got all excited. I was like, oh, he's on board. Like and then you were like, go Leafs.
Incidentally, shouldn't it be the Leaves?
Probably.
I mean, the plural of leaf is not Leafs, is it? Hey, Jeff, go rate the Leafs.
Yeah, it's definitely Leaves. The question, like when it's a mascot, like when it's the name of something. Like if I'm trying to think how to say this. If you had a dog, well, no. How do I want to say this? Yeah, I don't know. I think you might be right. Because I was thinking if it was the proper name or the name of something, you wouldn't switch it over.
Right. Like, singularly, you're a Toronto Maple Leaf.
Yes.
But then, so plurally, they're the Leafs. I don't know. It is just
weird. Is weird. Never thought about that with them before. Be sure to go to NorthcentralPa.com for all of your local news. Be sure to keep an eye out for the Flamingos, the Midday Show Flamingos.
At night, while you're looking out your window, looking for bear, walking around town, watch out for some flamingos, too. They'll have the bucket hats.
Ooh, yeah, I forgot about the bucket hats. I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina. We will see you tomorrow.
Later.